Hello and welcome to today's video. In this video, we are going to discuss 4 key steps to hire freshers, 4 key steps to hire employees without any work experience. So this video is for small and medium business owners, hiring managers, or anybody who is involved in hiring for a small and medium businesses. So we will discuss the 4 steps to follow when you have to hire somebody with no work experience or zero work experience. And this is the second video in a hiring series. In the first video, we spoke about the 5 common hiring mistakes that businesses make when hiring new employees. So I will leave a link to the first video in the video description. So let's get started. Let's discuss the 4 key steps to follow when you have to hire somebody with no work experience. Now, first of all, hiring freshers, hiring employees who are fresh out of college, fresh out of high school with no work experience could be a great strategy for your business. One, they usually come with a lot of passion and motivation to start their career, and they are eager to learn new skills. So yes, you get all sorts of candidates. Some are great, some are average, some need really a lot of working. And as a small and medium enterprise, you may have lack of resources, lack of time, lack of budget. Hence, you may not be able to really spend a lot of time and energy on training somebody with very raw skills. But any candidate, any employee with potential, with the ability to learn quickly could be a game changer because one, these cost lesser compared to the experienced ones. These new freshers, new candidates don't come with the baggage. They don't have to unlearn policies, practices of their previous work environment. So you can mold them as per your work culture and work environment. So let's get started. The first step, if you have to hire and when you hire somebody with no work experience, is start with yourself writing down the job description. Don't rely on what's available on the internet, on different hiring and HR forums or networking sites. Write down the job description for somebody, especially who is a fresher, no work experience. Keep it as simple as possible. So how would you go about it? Think what the person's day would be in your office. So what all activities and tasks would he or she be doing when they start working for you? For example, if it's going to be a sales development rep, what would be the activities that you would want the person to do? So it could include research for prospective clients on, say, LinkedIn, on different other industry websites. It would involve sending out cold emails or maybe using an email campaign software. It could involve cold calling to introduce your company. So it could be like 1 hour of research on LinkedIn, on other platforms, maybe half an hour or 1 hour of responding to emails and writing new emails, maybe a couple of hours of cold calling, then using tools like Lucia, Apollo.io, or Hunter to find out and fetch email addresses of prospects and then contacting them. Similarly, for other job profiles, what would be the day-to-day activities? Now, once you have listed down the job description, then you move on to step number 2, which is as per the activities that you mentioned, you would list the skills required to complete each activity. So again, for example, for research on LinkedIn for prospects, what are the skills required? For making cold calls, what are the skills required? Communication skills, fluency, good to talk to, should be able to sound good on the telephone. So different kinds of skills. For writing emails, you want to check the written communication. Yes, you can help with templates, but you would want to have a basic, fair, average command on the written language, whichever language you use. Primarily, people use English for email communication. So list down as per the activity. So each activity that you've listed down, what are the skills required to do that activity? So step 1, you write the job description yourself, talking to the reporting manager, to your team, to the hiring manager, or if you have an external HR consultant, talk to them and list down the activities. For each activity, step number 2 is to write what are the skills required to complete each activity. Then the third step is you highlight the must have skills. Remember, we are hiring freshers who have not worked before. They are fresh out of college or high school. So they will not possess all the skills that you would have listed down in step number 2. So step number 3 becomes important. If you have listed down 8 skills or 10 skills or maybe 6 or 5, whatever the number, out of those skills, how many would you mark as a must-have skill? That's important. Now, these are skills which become the qualifying criteria. So highlight what are the must-have skills. Now, after step 3, once you know that, okay, there are 3 must-have skills or 4 must-have skills, then you segregate those must-have skills into 2 categories. 1, prerequisites. Second, can be learned on the job. So again, important. Now you have the must-have skills for a fresh candidate, for a new employee. Segregate the must-have skills. What are the prerequisites? What are the ones that you would categorize as can be learned while on the job? Now, can be learned on the job depends upon the work culture that you have. So do you have somebody who could train the new employee, for example, a senior colleague, you yourself, or maybe an external trainer? Or if you have video modules or tutorials or guides that the new person can go through, watch, and then learn those skills. So segregate the must-have skills into 2 categories, prerequisites and can be learned on the job. So what is can be learned on the job is moved aside. Now the selection criteria, the qualifying criteria has been narrowed down to the must-have prerequisite skill. So once you do this exercise, the 4 steps, writing down the job description, listing down the skills required for each activity, each task, then identifying the must-have skills and segregating the must-have skills into what is prerequisite and what is can be learned on the job. So then you may be left with maybe 1 or at most 2 or 3, if it's a complex profile, prerequisite job skills. So now that is what you want to go ahead and check. For example, if you're hiring somebody fresh out of college for a technical job role, for example, a quality inspector for a production facility, or you're hiring somebody to help your coding team, your app development team, then you would want them to have some prerequisite skills, the technical skills required that they should know, which you can then add upon, but they need to come with a prerequisite skill set. So when you do these 4 steps, this step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, you're able to narrow down the qualifying criteria when you try to evaluate a fresher or a new candidate. So along with these prerequisite skills, now you need to check for culture fit, attitude, personality, which should be relevant to your work environment and to the respective job role. For example, if you're hiring for sales development rep, you can hire extroverts, introverts, both, but somebody who has the basic ability to hold on to a conversation, somebody who is inquisitive, somebody who can observe and answer questions. Now, these can be taught, but depending upon your office environment and the resources you have, would you mention this as a prerequisite skill or can be learned on the job skill? If can be learned on the job, it's fine. If it's prerequisite, then you need to test the candidate for the skill. So this now helps you to narrow it down and then look for, as I said, along with the prerequisite skill, the culture fit and the attitude. Culture fit is important because the person needs to gel together with the rest of the team members. Now, as in a small office or a small business, you would have maybe 10, 15 people who would be interacting every day. It's not like a large MNC office where people work in silos. They don't interact with each and every member of the organization. In a smaller organization, you meet everybody, you interact with everybody. Hence, you need to be a reasonable culture fit to join a small business or a small enterprise. So after you have followed these 4 steps, you check for the culture fit and you test the person for the must-have skills. That brings me to the next question, or you could say the step 5 is how do you test a fresher or somebody with no experience for a must-have skills? So again, there would be 3 stages to it. 1, try and have a pre-interview assessment. It could be a written assessment. It could be an online assessment. So answer basic, objective plus subjective questions related to that skill. You can have test papers that you will get online, or you could develop it yourself. As I promised in my earlier video, I'll be coming up with a video in the next few days on how to conduct functional testing, which will be relevant for freshers as well as for people with experience. So watch out for that video. But the first step in testing a new candidate for prerequisite skills is doing a pre-interview assessment, because that also gives the candidate a fair idea of what he or she is expected to do when they join the organization. So candidates who clear or do remarkably or even average in the assessment, and you feel that, okay, this could be a good candidate to hire, they move on to the interview round. So have maybe one or at most two interview rounds. Don't make it 3-4 rounds. Don't take up a lot of time. If you have one or two decision makers or three decision makers, talk to the candidate maybe in 1 or 2 rounds at most. And once candidates get through that, then it's a good idea to offer them a limited paid internship. It could range from maybe even a day to a couple of months. So now these are fresher candidates who are not working anywhere. So they are mostly available for a paid internship if you're going to tell them, okay, you've been selected, you've been shortlisted, but we want to make sure that you like working with us. So we would want you to join us for a week or a month or 2 days, and we would pay you for the number of days that you would work for us. Now, in that limited internship, give the employee a few basic activities and a few learning opportunities. It could be online videos, tutorials, and judge the candidate on how quickly he or she is able to grasp new skills. And more than that, how eager and how willing is the new person to learn new skills and learn the ways your business and your team functions. So once you go through all these steps, the accuracy and efficiency of your hiring new candidates is certainly going to improve. You'll be more sure of who you are hiring as a fresher for your team. And by the time all the steps are completed, even the new candidate is fully aware of what he or she is getting into. Both the employer and the employee can make up their minds at the end of the 1 week, 1 month, or at max 2 months internship, whether they would like to continue or not. If not, both pathways, you give him or her an internship certificate, which they could use as a job experience for applying for a new job. So it's a win-win experience. It's a win-win arrangement for both an employer and an employee. So one, as I said, it's good, it's beneficial to hire freshers because one, they are passionate, they are eager to start their corporate jobs and career, and they don't come with a baggage. They don't have to unlearn what they've been doing in the previous organization. And they are more flexible to follow your work culture and your ways of working. But to make correct decisions and hire the right candidates, follow these 4 steps. One, be clear about the job description. And when I say job description, be clear about the day-to-day activities that they are supposed to do. List down the skills required to carry on those activities. Number 3, then understand out of those skills, what are the must-have skills, and then categorize must-have skills into prerequisites and can be learned on the job. For prerequisites, follow a 3-step process, a pre-interview assessment, the interview, and if required, if feasible, then a limited time paid internship with some activities and some learning opportunities. At the end, you are sure, you are more certain that you've hired the most appropriate, the most suitable candidate for your business requirement. So hope this strategy helps. As I said, I'll be coming up with other videos in the hiring series. This was video number 2. The next in line would be how to plan and conduct functional tests, both for freshers and for people with experience. So do subscribe to the channel and keep watching for other videos. Along with hiring, I would have videos on sales, operations, business strategy, and other insights. So hope to see you again in my next video. Till then, thank you for watching to the end. Be safe and take care.